am not going to make any excuses. I am not going to let anybody off the hook. I'm just telling you what I think the mindset could potentially be on their part. Stephen A. will be right here. I mean, Stephen A. will be right here.
All right, how does that work?
Hold on, let me give you the list. Let me give you the hit list. What I'm saying to you is this. I don't believe that he'll want to lose a sixth NBA Finals. But that doesn't mean that if he loses earlier than that, I'm going to let him off the hook. I'm just telling you what the thought process is. I ain't letting him off the hook. I ain't letting John Wall and the Wizards off the hook. I'm not letting DeMar DeRozan and Kyle Lowry off the hook. I'm not letting Boston. I might let off the hook a little bit because Gordon Hayward ain't there. Yeah.
That's what the fourth estate is supposed to do, right? You have to hold everyone accountable. But for some reason, you're conflating how good everyone is with some kind of moral issue. Like, some teams just aren't good enough. But I want to know how this works with LeBron. I want to know how this works. You mean to tell me because he doesn't want to lose in the finals, he's at some point not going to play as well as he can? Because you're saying, on the one hand, out of one side of your mouth, you're saying no team in the East could stop him. And on the other side, unless he doesn't really want to get past them. Well, how does that work? Play that out for me. They're in the middle of a series and LeBron packs it in?
I can sit up there and play it out for you in simpler terms. There have been times throughout LeBron James' career where we've wondered about his psychological approach to things. We didn't question his game. We didn't question his abilities. We didn't question his greatness. We questioned his want-it factor. We questioned how bad he wanted it, not in terms of wins and losses, but also in terms of the level of competition that you were going up against. When he went to Miami, people lamented stuff because they felt like he was just stockpiling talent and jumping on bandwagons and what have you. And ultimately, we got distracted from that because Kevin Durant did the same thing in Golden State. And ultimately, Melo and Paul George joined OKC and Chris Paul joined Houston, et cetera, et cetera. So it sort of changed the landscape. But we look at dude's psychological approaches all the time. We watched the Washington Wizards when John Wall was out and Gortat and Beal and others behind.
I've never seen that from LeBron, Stephen A.
You never saw what from LeBron?
The only time I've seen LeBron.
You never saw what from LeBron?
I'm saying psychologically, if you want to point to the first finals loss against Dallas in Miami, when LeBron choked in 4 fourth quarters by abdicating responsibility, getting rid of the ball. I'll give you that. Otherwise, I have not seen LeBron not show up in the finals. The man shows up in the finals in bowls. He shows up in the playoffs in bowls.
I agree with that. But the fact of the matter is, prior to that, there were times like when he lost to Boston, there were times when we wondered what the hell was going on with him because he seemed like a zombie out there that hadn't shown up. All I'm trying to say is it's been a long time, and nobody can accuse LeBron James of that in recent memory. But watching this game, we do pay attention to the psychological situations that go on with players. Some cats show up and want it. Other cats show up and they don't seem to want it. And you pay attention to those kind of things. And I'm not absolving LeBron or anybody else from that.
James, I think LeBron James has put that Dallas series to rest.
I agree.
With finals performances where he lost in 6 games with no one on the team to Golden State and then beat Golden State with 2 of the greatest final series of all time, like 2 in the top 10
I have a question for you,
consecutive years. I think he put that to sleep. Here's the problem, Stephen A. The rest of the Cavs roster, if LeBron James, best player in the world, which he is, and Kevin Love can be an all-star caliber player, which he is an
all-star caliber player.
The rest of the roster, yeah, I'm saying but coming back off injury, if he can regain that and actually do more than he's done in the past, because he's now second banana, not third on this team. I'm looking at the rest of the roster. Stephen A. Smith, George Hill has been a starting point guard, but he's really a rotation piece at this point in his career. Same thing with Jordan Clarkson. J.R. Smith has been terrible this year. Larry Nance Jr. is an energizer bunny kind of guy, but not a great player. My point is, Rodney Hood is the one guy you look at, you go, maybe that's a starter. Maybe he has the potential to be something more, but he hasn't really shown that consistently yet. The rest of the team, you can't show me one surefire, that guy is a starter on a championship team. It ain't LeBron, it's the rest of the squad.
Well, again, Max Kellerman, earlier this season, when we watched the Cleveland Cavaliers, We didn't have a discussion about how LeBron looked a bit apathetic. We didn't have a discussion about how he looked a bit disinterested. There wasn't stuff going on before the trading deadline where everybody was basically writing his epitaph in Cleveland because folks thought this was the end because he just looks completely spent and disinterested and disgusted by the dysfunctional circumstances that was raking through that franchise like a virus. These are all the things we pointed to. All I'm trying to say is that this comes with the sport. So it's not beyond the realm of comprehension that if you look down the path and you feel like you got no shot going up against a juggernaut, that you know what, you might want to bow out early. I'm not talking about him as an individual. I'm talking about the reality of his circumstances because of what's surrounding him as far as his teammates are concerned. These are all things you have to pay attention to.
If he doesn't get out of the East... If he doesn't get out of the East, it's because his team wasn't good enough. Not because he's trying to avoid Golden State or Houston. It's because they're not good enough. Because all that goes into how good you are.
You could say that, but I guess what I'm saying to you is that if, listen, here's the hypocrisy. I shouldn't say hypocrisy, but here's what's so questionable about your words. And put me up on this 3-screen, please, so I could see Max Kellerman's face when I say this. Max Kellerman is a boxing analyst extraordinaire for HBO, doing a fabulous job with all the perks that come with it, going to Spain and London and Monte Carlo and all of this other stuff with your boxing matches.
This weekend.
Max Kellerman, boxing is a pugilistic sport. You got to go up in there and fight.
Indeed.
How many times have I seen Max on television going like this? Dude, that show up to get the money. He had a job to do. He didn't want to be there. He didn't want to be there. Max has said that on many occasions.
Stephen A.
Wait a minute. What I'm saying to you is this. Basketball ain't a one-on-one sport per se. But you can get your behind waxed as an individual when you step out on the court and a brother give it to you. Let's be clear about that. That can happen.
Let's see. This is what this is really about. You want to know the big lesson about the Cavs this year? And it started in the preseason. This is what Jerry Buss, the greatest owner ever in the history of sports, told Kobe Bryant when Kobe wanted to be traded. He said, Kobe, if I have a 5-carat diamond, I'm not trading it for 5 1-carat diamonds. That's what the Cavs did. They had a 5-carat diamond. They didn't get a 5-carat diamond back, and now they may not get out of the East.
State Farm, Robert here.
Robert, somebody burned down my she shed.
No one burned down your she shed, Cheryl.
Robert, does State Farm cover my she shed?
What's a she shed?
She turned our shed into her hideaway, Robert.
Oh, yeah, that's covered.
You hear that, Victor? I'm getting a new she shed.
Can we stop saying she shed now?
Go with the one that's here to help life go right. State Farm. Talk to an agent today.
Sports Center right now. Good news for the Warriors this morning. Sources tell our NBA reporters Chris Haynes and Ramona Shelburne that Steph Curry is having his right ankle reevaluated today and targeting a return to action on Friday against the Atlanta Hawks. Curry injured himself back on March 8th. Since then, Golden State is 2-3. They were in action last night, and the injuries didn't get any better on Monday. Already without Klay Thompson, Kevin Durant, then Draymond Green here taking a knee to the groin when Danny Green drives to the basket in the second quarter. Green bending over in pain. He would leave the game with a pelvic contusion. X-rays showed that they were negative. All right, let's go to the fourth quarter. LaMarcus Aldridge came out on fire. Aldridge backed San Antonio up by 5. Then, later, Spurs up by 10. Aldridge burying the jumper, finished with 33 points, 19 points in the fourth. San Antonio wins 89-75. Now, let's get it back to First Take.
Antonietta, appreciate you. No Steph, no KD, no Klay. As you just saw, Draymond Green went down with an injured groin in the second quarter. The Warriors lost to the Spurs. Stephen A., are these injuries a good or bad thing for Golden State?
Well, for me, I don't know if it's a good thing. I'm not going to say it's a good thing. It's a good thing if they're really not hurt and they're just using this to get some rest. And I'm certainly not accusing them of never being hurt. Please don't get me wrong. I'm saying that you might have been hurt, but you might be in position to come back earlier than you actually elect to come back because you're getting additional rest. Under those circumstances, it would be a good deal. But if these are legitimate, bona fide injuries where you're running around this organization, man, I mean, in a span of 3 weeks, your top 4 players went down. All 4 of them. I mean, come on, when does that happen? And so in that regard, I'm a bit concerned about it because let me tell you something. I might pick them to beat Houston, And if they're healthy, I stand by that prediction. No disrespect to my brothers, James Harden and Chris Paul, who is just they are all world. It's just that I think that Golden State is too lethal, too long, too sniperish, for lack of a better word or whatever. And I'm just going with Golden State, but that's assuming they're healthy. Because you ain't beating Houston if you ain't healthy. And that's my question right there about them right now. So I'm not going to say this is a good thing because I'm worried about their durability. And I only had that concern about Steph Curry in the past. Now it's Durant and his rib and Klay Thompson and that shooting thumb, which you know is going to get smacked at every turn. So I'm a bit concerned about it. I'll admit that.
Well, it's a good thing. It's a good thing because if the injury is persistent to the playoffs, it's a bad thing, of course. Who doesn't know that? I'm talking about if they are healthy by the playoffs, then this is a good thing because they get rest. I mean, there's plenty of time before the playoffs still that they can come back from these injuries, and now they're rested. They have a little less wear and tear on them. But Stephen A., even if they are intentionally resting, let's say that these injuries are all bogus for the sake of argument. I'm not saying they are. Let's just say they're like, you know what? What's a midsection injury? I don't know. Let's just get some rest, guys. Let's say it's Steve Kerr's plan. I'm not saying it is. Mm-hmm. But if you think that helps them, then I need to know what your position on Warriors-Rockets is because you have spent a long time saying this season that the Rockets, if they have home court, are going to get to a Game 7,
right?
And then a Game 7 could go either way. So if the Warriors are looking at the Rockets and thinking, damn, we need to be rested to beat them, but in resting, they're going to cede the number 1 seed. Right. They're just going to give up fighting for the number 1 seed, knowing, according to you, that means they're going to Game 7 and it's anyone's series. Isn't that the same thing as saying that you are rethinking who the best team in basketball is?
No, not at all. Not at all. I'm of the mindset that if the Golden State Warriors are healthy, even a Game 7 in Houston, they're winning. I will be in Houston for that Game 7. And I will tell you right now, the Warriors ain't losing. I don't believe a healthy Warriors squad is losing to the Houston Rockets. I don't believe it. Not for 1 second.
I could have sworn on this show you said a Game 7, anything can happen.
No.
Either way.
No. I'm saying to you, I said, no. What I said was that Houston's shot at pushing this series to a 7th game has to come via having the number 1 seed in the West. They cannot expect a 7-game series if they are the number 2 seed or lower. If they get the number 1 seed, they could potentially push this to a Game 7. But I'm still picking the Warriors. A healthy Warriors squad, I'm not jumping off the boat. If the Warriors are healthy and Houston's healthy, even at the Toyota Center in Houston, Texas. And I will be there, Lord willing, as long as I'm alive and kicking. I will be there for that one. I am going with the Warriors to win a Game 7 on the road in Houston. Just so we all understand each other.
But wouldn't you agree, if you could close it out before Game 7, that would be advantageous to the team closing it out, right? So if the idea, so think about the position the Warriors are in, Stephen A. If they are resting intentionally, they are willing to risk going to a Game 7 because that's how serious a threat the Rockets are. And if they're not doing it intentionally, and they could be physically compromised heading into the playoffs, then Houston's going to beat them. Either way, you're conceding that Houston team.
Look there, Abby. Stop being emotional. I am saying to you, okay, that listen, if I'm saying Houston can push it to a 7th game, I'm not disrespecting them. I recognize their greatness. I never said they weren't great. What I said is they ain't the Warriors. And in my opinion, the Golden State Warriors, as long as they are healthy, can go into anybody's house. No, even if it's a Game 7, and take you out. And I believe that is what will happen.
I understand you're saying that, but what I'm saying you must concede is that the Warriors, if they're doing that, believe their best strategy is to concede home court, right? Like they would rather rest now and give up home court knowing that could very well lead to a Game 7, in your opinion, than they would play now and go into the playoffs something less than fully rested, meaning they believe their best chance is to win a Game 7 at Houston.
I'm saying that's tomato. So what? You explained that months ago because remember, we lamented the fact that the Warriors went after that